I wonder if we can dive right into what you have always placed first in this, and I gather is a central strategy for the elimination of violence in the world, and that's vegetarianism. Why is that? Why is that such an important aspect?
I do feel that if we were to choose just one thing that the average person can do to create a more peaceful planet, that eating less meat would be it. For one thing, it's easy to do in terms of you don't have to wait for the government to change or corporations to do something different. It's right, your dinner plate is right in front of you 3 times a day, and you can choose what goes on it. There are several reasons why this is so critical. The first, perhaps, is from the standpoint of peace, is just the amount of violence it takes to provide a meat-centered diet. Just in the U.S. alone, per year, we slaughter over 10 billion animals. That's billion with a B. Wow. All of which is unnecessary because we can do quite well without meat. And that, of course, doesn't include the sea animals, fish, other sea animals, and animals that die on the way to the slaughterhouse. It doesn't include the ill treatment that these animals are subjected to in our factory farming system. So the first part is the violence to the animals. The second thing to consider is that if we are going to all be peaceful or want to be peaceful on a crowded planet, we need to grow the most food to feed all these people. And right now we're not doing a very good job about it because we have a lot of people who don't have enough to eat. The most efficient use of farmland, if you look into calorie ratios and how much you can produce on a given piece of land, the most efficient way to provide food for people is plant food, whole grains, vegetables, fruits. In fact, if you were to take a piece of land the size of a football field and you decide to graze cattle on it, you would be able to feed 2 people. But if you decide instead to grow soybeans on it, you could feed 60 people. Wow. So it's quite a difference. And that is something that will come more to the fore as our population increases. How can we grow the most food? Also, the growing of plant foods saves us in other environmental resources. It saves, because in order to grow plants to feed to animals, you have to farm about 7 to 10 times more land than if you would grow crops on the land that you could eat directly. So we're farming all this land, which means there's a lot of soil erosion, which means there's a lot of inputs of pesticides and so on, which means that we have to then refrigerate the meat and dairy products more than we do have to refrigerate plant foods. So we have a lot of other resource inputs in livestock agriculture. One of the things that's come to the fore, of course, in these last few years since Al Gore's film, has been global warming. And it turns out, and this came out in a UN report, that the livestock agriculture worldwide contributes more to global warming than the entire transportation sector. Okay. So we think a lot about planes and cars and trains and buses, but if you take all of the input going into the atmosphere from those, it does not equal what livestock agriculture is contributing. So it is critical that way. The third thing is about our own personal health. You can't very well be peaceful if you don't feel well, and as a society we have a lot of problems that are preventable. We have obesity and diabetes. We have, and of course the big killers are heart disease, colon cancer, breast or prostate cancer, strokes. All of these kinds of things are directly linked to a diet that's high in animal products. So the more we can cut back, even if it's only 1 meatless meal a week or 1 meatless day. There's one group that's campaigning for meatless Mondays, to just make Monday a day that you don't eat any meat. Or take it further if you can, but whatever you can do will have all these impacts. So that's why I suggested.